Well, this non-disclosure agreement seems to be in order. Thank you so much for attending our test screening. And most importantly, thank you for not going out and telling everybody what you just saw. It's nice to know that there are some people in the world who you can still trust.
There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace. The word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk movies, not action figures this time, because there is some late breaking news about the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. It has been screened in front of Warner Brothers people, test audiences, and a cut exists. Human eyes have seen it, and we've got to talk about it. So this is going to be a different kind of a video. Normally I try to look like the utmost professionalism, where it's nice edits and cuts and this and that, but here I'm going to react to a Twitter thread that someone posted regarding some of the non-spoilery information about the film. Now this comes from a Twitter poster named Blu-ray Angel, and he is apparently quite big in the Batman community, in the online community, and from what we understand, he is a pretty trusted person. He's not like someone who breaks news all the time, but from what we can see, he's got a good kind of reputation in the community as a positive influence, and not someone who's likely to make up a whole bunch of BS just to get some clicks. I mean, hey, if he did, it worked. So this is information that comes from a friend of his. Alright, so I know it's like, really? A friend? Really? But we're going to go with this. Comes from a friend of his who saw the Batman test screening. And this is something that all movie studios do long before the release of the movie. They'll show a test cut to the audience, and then they will make trims, edits, changes, even go back and refilm things, reshoot stuff. It's a very early stage kind of thing, normally without completed special effects and all that kind of stuff, but it's enough to get a good idea. And this is what the person had to say. I'm going to read and dictate, and we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be very, very exciting because this sounds like good news. Going to the Twitter thread, he writes, "Exclusive, I know someone who has seen the Batman. Friend of mine and a really good person. Here's what they told me, thread, no spoilers." Now this is the biggest news I think coming from it. He says, the Batman is a horror movie. And that instantly gets my attention. I'm like, ooh, a Batman horror movie. That's kind of cool. I mean, certainly from the trailer that we saw, from the pre-release, very early trailer, it looked grim. The world that they were inhabiting looked dark and nasty. It totally looked like a cross between Saw and Seven. And I know they probably can't go too crazy hard up because Warner Brothers still want to make a wide range of money, recoup some of that lost income from the Snyderverse, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it doesn't look like they're shying away from being a little bit brutal, which is really encouraging. He goes on to say, the Batman movie is a horror movie, very graphic, very dark, very scary. Paul Dano is effing crazy. So effing scary, I loved every second. I'm sorry about the effing and jeffing, but I'm just reiterating what was in the Twitter thread. It's funny, he bleeps out one of his effings and then just drops the other one, like, in all the letters. Just be consistent, man, alright? But seriously, this sounds surprising. I thought that they would try and go a bit more middle of the road with a little bit of a scare here and there, but maybe Warner Brothers have seen the success that they've had from more hard R type films. Deadpool killed it. Suicide Squad seems to be doing really well, so they think maybe we can just go all in, make the movie we really want to make, and people will watch it, which makes so much sense because what are the franchises that we were obsessed with as kids? RoboCop, The Terminator, Aliens. These were not kid movies, but kids loved them. Maybe they had to wait a little while before we could see them, but oh my goodness, we latched onto them like baby birds. And if they're taking this approach with Batman, that's really encouraging. So the thread goes on to say, the cut they saw of Batman is 3 hours long. Now this does worry me just a little bit because 3 hours is a long time, even for a good movie. Now this is a very early cut, so there's a very good chance that they could trim all sorts of chunks away from this, take it down by 15 minutes, a half hour, goodness only knows. There are some movies where people say, oh, if only you'd seen the original cut, it was like an extra hour and completely different. I mean, hey, we just saw the Snyderverse Justice League, so That's a case in point right there. But at the moment, what they saw was 3 hours. And the thing is, if it's good, then that's great. That's just more stuff to love, but it's rolling the dice. You had better believe in yourself and your vision to make something that demands so much time of the audience. And also, a problem with super long movies is that it reduces the amount of screenings that you can have in the cinema on any one day. And that is something that companies genuinely do take into account when thinking of box office receipts and all that kind of thing. But a 3-hour Batman movie that's really well made and intense, that's great. But at the same time, there's got to be some levity there. It's like, Saw is not a 3-hour movie. Seven is not a 3-hour movie. I wouldn't want to spend 3 hours in that world because it's bleak and nasty and horrible, and it's great to like dip your toe in and be like, whoa. But I don't know if I want to be in that drab misery for that long. So maybe some trimming could be good, but at the moment it sounds like they certainly have a lot to play with, and that's kind of cool. With regards to Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, this is a big one. He says that she is one of his favorite things of the entire film. Oh my goodness, she is the best Catwoman he has ever seen, and that bodes very well. Again, this is kind of speculative, but it's very encouraging. I think Zoe Kravitz certainly looks the part. I haven't really seen her in anything, so I can't say. I can only go like visually, like, yeah, I guess she would play a good Catwoman. The little glimpses we've seen, again, they give hope. But the fact that someone who seems to be very much invested in the whole Batman Warner Brothers product and project is pushing so hard for this person and saying, this definitively is the best Catwoman he has ever seen. And I'm not like a huge fan of the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, but that stands as iconic for so many people. And then, you know, we had the I was about to say Halle Berry. No, we don't hold that one up as iconic. Bless her, but no. What was the name? Anne Hathaway. I think Anne Hathaway is great. I really like Anne Hathaway. And again, she was fine, but I didn't like that Nolan Batman movie. I don't think a great many people did. Some did. I'm not going to take away from it, but I thought that was a slog. That was a near 3-hour movie that did not need 3 hours, but that's for another video. But still, the fact that this Catwoman is apparently a standout character, and hopefully she might maybe provide some of that lightness and levity in the otherwise potentially very dark film, and that's another strong point. The next point is actually one that I was seriously thinking about, which is their thoughts on Robert Pattinson. It is Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's Batman voice, and that was of genuine concern, because I have to admit, when I first saw that trailer and his one line of "I am vengeance," I was like, ooh, that was a bit cringy. And that's not knocking Robert Pattinson. Pattinson. Just get that in the brain. I didn't think it was knocking him, but I thought, like, that just felt so cheesy and cringy. Just the line, "I am vengeance." It's become a parody. You know, that's what people make fun of Batman for. It's the Christian Bale voice. It's the, "I'm not wearing hockey pants. Where are the drugs?" So anytime you go in that direction, you're kind of walking a very fine line. But the guy says that Robert Pattinson's voice is perfect. So maybe he just gets that gravel just right. I think still Michael Keaton got it absolutely ideal. He had his normal voice the whole time, except Bruce Wayne. It was a bit lighter and with more levity. And then Batman was softer but more stern. And it just worked so well. The same with Kevin Conroy. He had the lighter Bruce Wayne voice, and then he had the darker Batman voice. But it was never like this. So as long as he doesn't go full Bale, then we'll be fine. Because you can go a little bit, but never go full Bale. Never go full Bale. Their thoughts on the Batmobile are, well, just expletive filled, so I'm not even going to repeat them, but it was all positive, and I really like this look of the Batmobile as well. Apparently, this is all stuff that Bruce makes and bashes together himself. He's a mechanic, and probably with the help of Alfred, I would imagine, he makes this equipment, so it's not all just random stuff from Wayne Tech. It's not a giant tumbler tank, and it's not a crazy fins and neon future car from like Batman and Robin or Batman Forever. It's something that a mechanic with enough expertise and money could probably make himself. And I don't know anything about cars. Is it a Dodge Charger? I don't know. I have no idea. But it's a big muscle car with a huge jet engine on the back and what looks like proper titanium armor plates kind of riveted onto it. It looks like something made in a cave, and it looks cool. It looks very Mad Max. That was what I thought when I saw the Batmobile. And apparently a lot of people online have been like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm down for it. Because also, something this small, that could be really maneuverable. You could have some really cool car chases. And that's something that I haven't seen in films in a long, long time, are really good car stunts. I mentioned Mad Max. You can hold that one up high as an example. But having some car chases around Gotham City with this, with all of the gadgets and things he puts on there, and a car that's faster and more powerful and maneuverable, that could have some amazing set pieces. So I love what they've done with the Batmobile, and by the sounds of things, it really gets to be showcased in the movie. And the closing statement is that there is a scene at the end that literally had everyone screaming. Everyone gasped. It was like a big "no way" for everyone. I don't give a never mind about Batman or DC, and even I clenched onto my knees and was shook. It was the biggest mic drop. Wow, the person who wrote this is probably a lot younger than me, but still, that is just, ooh, it's intriguing. It's interesting. What does it mean? Who knows? I have no idea what that kind of mic drop could be. Again, I'm not a big DC guy either, so I think, what would be a mic drop kind of thing? Having the Joker, maybe, but that's like, the Joker's always connected to Batman. It wouldn't be like that surprising. It's like, well, of course you're setting up the Joker. That's what The Dark Knight did. Not The Dark Knight, that's what Batman Begins did. It's like, that seems to be the trump card. It's like, oh, it's the Joker. It's like, well, okay, but I don't see that as being a huge big deal. But then again, this also sounds like it comes from a very excitable person. And hey, look, I'm guilty of that. I'm normally the first person to get in front of the camera and go like, oh my god, you guys, you gotta go and see this thing. I know, that's kind of my MO, so I appreciate some enthusiasm, but I don't know what that could imply. Hopefully, what it implies, I guess, is that this is not going to be a one and done movie. If there is a big mic drop at the end, then hopefully that means they're opening this up to more of a cinematic universe, because it seems that DC are kind of getting the idea and the notion now that a big interconnected series of movies is just not going to work for them. They got too many creative influences, too many moving parts, they didn't get off to the right start, they whiffed the ball, and now it's time to change course completely. If you can't be Marvel, then be something else. You know, no one wants a second-rate version of Marvel. Be the best at what you can do, and that seems to be standalone franchises for their characters, and this could really be something. Geez, now that I think about it, maybe the Joaquin Phoenix Joker appearing at the end of the Batman, that would be a mic drop. That would be a big mic drop. Even I'd be like, oh, it's the Joker. And then if it's Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, that would be pretty crazy. Who knows? You heard it here first, except for probably all the forums where people have already said that. But still, if they open this up to a series of movies, not even like restricting themselves with a trilogy, don't think about a 3-act structure. Okay? That's what bogs so many films down, I think, where they're like, oh, we're gonna make this trilogy with the big start and then the middle and then the end. No, do it like James Bond. Just have an ongoing series of films. Change the actors here and there. Swap people in and out. Keep Robert Pattinson by the sounds of things, because from what I understand, he's getting great reviews. And also, don't just mistake Robert Pattinson as that Twilight guy. I haven't watched Twilight, but that kind of put me off as well. I was like, really? The Twilight guy? And then I saw him in The Lighthouse. And I was like, oh, this dude can go. Like, it's like watching a wrestler in WWE and thinking, oh, he can only work WWE style. It's Matt Cardona. And then you get him out of there and it's like, oh my god, this guy's actually a really great worker. Same with Robert Pattinson. So if he nails this Batman like this person says that he probably did, then I am all for keeping him in the role, because he looks the business. And so if anything else kind of moves along in that kind of line, then that's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I am really psyched for the Batman. It sounds like it's going to be horrific and nasty and intense and just a complete departure from some of the other interpretations we've seen. And that gets me really pumped. So guys, what do you think? Are you excited for the Batman? If so, comment below, let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step further, you can go to patreon.com/displayingmodelbehavior, just like these guys did, and throw a few shekels my way. It's always hugely appreciated. So guys, until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cheers.